My oh my, when you sigh my
Not a bad little album
mind's
released
like a
60 years ago this week. That is the Help album from those boys from Liverpool. And I know it could have gone to something you hear a million times, but this is It's Only Love. Little John vocal there. It is Salena Zito's love for Western Pennsylvania that you might have caught wind of here on the Hugh Hewitt Show. It is in the pages of Butler, which of course contain one of the life-changing, history-changing moments. She's chronicled it so well there. And there's a lot, so much that's discussed about Yinzerland. And Salena is with us now on the occasion of her visit to Clairton, which I believe is about 15 miles southeast of Pittsburgh. Salena, welcome. You've gone to visit the site of this coke plant explosion. 2 dead. What's the latest, and what are we to glean from this tragedy, and what was your journey like today? So glad to see you.
Thank you. So I've been covering the steel industry all of my career, and this was, in my younger days, it was not uncommon that there were casualties and very bad injuries in steel plants. But that has dramatically changed in the past 40 years. Safety measures and regulations have really made these plants much more safer for the workers. Still, every time you walk into a plant as a steel worker, you may as well be a fireman going to a fire every day. The plants are hot, they're filled with chemicals and dust and fumes and heat, and you always have to be constantly on guard. This is very tragic for the U.S. Steel family. The steel workers, there's 3 plants. There's Edgar Thomson, Urban Works, and the Clairton Coke Works. They're all within a 10-mile radius of each other along the Monongahela Valley. And so this is like family, right? These plants are like family, but also the communities that surround him. So this has been a very tough few days.
I know it's kind of funny. I started my radio career in West Virginia, so I kind of know what coke is. It's high carbon. You heat coal in the absence of air, and that's why you get coal and coke often spoken of in the same sort of fossil fuels paragraph. And it is, and just like the United Mine Workers that I was hanging with in Charleston, West Virginia, the steel workers, this is a fraternity and sometimes sorority. It's a family, let's just call it,
Yeah.
of people doing some of the hottest, dirtiest, most unpleasant work so that our lights can stay on. And
Yeah.
I just got to tell you, I don't think that we think about them enough, and I don't think we pay them enough attention. I want to pay attention to this gentleman named Timothy Quinn, a 39-year-old father of 3, second-generation steelworker, one of the lives lost. We should thank God every day that there are people like this.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, these men and women, they believe their jobs are very patriotic. That what they do not only make our lives better and easier and more convenient, but they also are the men and women who keep our country secure. When that bomb dropped in Iran to get rid of their nuclear capabilities, that was made with U.S. steel. That was made with steel made in America, right? So they have this belief system that they are part of something bigger than self, and they go every day into those plants, much like a fireman goes into a fire. You know there is high risk, but you do it for the betterment. Obviously for your livelihood, but also what you're doing is for the betterment of the country.
So as you travel those roads, carry the best wishes of a nation and gratitude for what is often a sacrifice for doing this
Yeah.
vital, vital work. All right, let's talk about the vital work you do, writing about stuff in the news. How have the last few days struck you as Trump says, hey, let's fight crime, and some in America say, no, don't do that, that's terrible?
I don't know who the some are. Because if you look at many major American cities, while crime has statistically gone down since COVID, although that is debatable because of the way that crime is now reported to the FBI, homelessness and crime, even underreported crime, right? It happens. It doesn't make it onto the books, right? And so there is a sense of unease that people feel in major American cities, including my hometown of Pittsburgh. My hometown of Pittsburgh, which I have loved for 6 decades, is filled with homeless encampments and people walking around in some sort of meth days, and it's unsafe. You feel unsafe, and that's why there's a vacancy problem within the business community in the city. And I don't go to DC. I mean, ask anybody that said, "Hey, Salena, when I come to DC to do a book event," and I'm like, "Yeah, I don't think so. I don't feel safe there."
Understand? Is your governor, Josh Shapiro, often heralded as a semi non crazy Democrat alternative in 2028? Is he wise enough to sort of moisten his finger to the air of public opinion and see that maybe this is a good idea? Maybe it's a good idea for Pittsburgh. It's certainly a good idea for Philadelphia. And that maybe standing astride everything Trump does and saying orange man bad might not be the way to be a Democrat. Is he that smart?
Yeah, he's a very talented political athlete. You cannot take that away from Shapiro. And Muriel Bowser has kind of handled this pretty well as well, considering her political alignments and the president's political alignments. And Shapiro and Trump have, sort of worked together. They worked together on the U.S. Steel deal when Shapiro's the governor's residency was firebombed. Trump picked up the phone and called him, and they both detailed to me a very robust and good and warm conversation just about the times that we live in, having both been come under attack in our home state.
Well, I tell you, I know that in traveling, we got 60 seconds left. What's your next column about? What's the next thing you're going to explore?
So I have a piece today from Clareton. It should be at the Examiner pretty quickly. And then I'll also have a piece with the CEO of U.S. Steel, David Barrett, that will be in the Washington Post. It's going to be, and Josh Shapiro, it's going to be a must read. Neither of those men have historically gotten along. And yet yesterday, they both showed up like grown-ups to the Clareton plant and put whatever misgivings they had about each other aside and did the right thing.
That, not everybody sucks. That is so great to hear. And Salena, thank you. And everybody, get your copies of Butler, which is just a magnificent chronicle of that event and the political significance of it. Salena Zito, check her out. Anything she writes of any length is always going to be great.